They'd transferred the bond last week, but he still felt the strange void that was wearing on his nerves. He needed a distraction. The thought had barely passed through his mind when a shadow fell over him, and he glanced up to discover a tall, lean man with copper-tinted skin and ebony eyes. Wolf, the current Tagus, leader of all Sentinels, had a proud, hawkish nose, with heavy brows and prominent cheekbones, that all combined to give him the appearance of an ancient Egyptian deity. It was a face that spoke of power and fierce masculinity, the sort of face that intimidated men and made women wonder if he was as dangerous as he looked. He was. Just as arresting was the shoulder-length black hair that had a startling streak of gray that started at his right temple. There were whispers that when Wolf was a babe, he had been touched by the devil, something Fane fully believed. Swallowing a curse, Fane tossed aside his sweaty towel. Damn. This wasn't the distraction he'd been wanting. Wolf was dressed in jeans and a loose cotton shirt with the sleeves rolled up to his elbows. He had his arms folded over his chest and was studying Fane with an expression that warned he wasn't pleased. Around them, the gym went silent as the other Sentinels pretended they weren't straining to overhear the potential confrontation. "I heard through the grapevine you've taken a position as a trainer," he said. That was Wolf, always straight to the point. Fane scowled. It had been less than 24 hours since he'd made the decision to seek a position as trainer in a monastery halfway around the world. How the hell had word spread so fast? The grapevine should mind its own business. The ebony eyes narrowed. And I shouldn't have to listen to gossip to learn when one of my Sentinels is leaving Valhalla. Fane met his Tagus glare for glare. "I have no direct duties here, at least not anymore. I'm allowed to return to the monastery without clearing it with you." The air heated. Sentinels' body temperature ran hotter than humans, and when their emotions were provoked, they could actually warm the air around them. "Don't be an ass. This isn't about duties. I'm worried about you." Oh, hell. This was exactly what Fane didn't want. He'd rather be shot in the head than have someone fussing over him. "There's nothing to worry about. You know that I was a trainer for years before coming to Valhalla. I'm simply returning to my brothers in Tibet. You've just endured the removal of a long-standing bond. A traumatic experience for any guardian," the older man ruthlessly pressed. "And we're your brothers, you thankless son of a bitch." Fane gave an impatient shake of his head. Wolf was a hunter sentinel, not a guardian, which meant he could never understand the truth of the bond. "I know what you're thinking, but you're wrong." Wolf slowly arched a brow. There weren't many who had the chutzpah to stand up to him. "What am I thinking? Callie and I never had a sexual relationship. Did you want one?" "No," Fane growled. "Jesus Christ. She was like a sister to me. She still is." The dark gaze never wavered. "And it doesn't bother you that she's with Duncan? Not so long as he treats her right." Fane allowed a humorless smile to touch his lips. "If he doesn't, I'll rip out his heart with my bare hands." Wolf nodded. They both understood it wasn't an empty threat. "Good," the Tagus said. "But that wasn't my concern." Fane surged to his feet, his tattoos deepening in response to his rising temper. It was barely past noon, but it had already been a long day. "Does this conversation have an end in sight?" Wolf stood his ground. No shocker. The man always stood his ground. "This past decade has been dedicated to protecting Callie. Now you're going to have a void where the bond used to be. It's going to make you—" He paused, as if sorting through his brain for the right word. "Twitchy." "Twitchy?" Wolf shrugged. "I was going to say as mean as a viper, but that would be an insult to the viper." There was a snicker from the front of the room. Fane sent a glare that instantly had the younger sentinel scurrying from the gym. He returned his attention to his leader, his gaze narrowed. "And fuck you too. I'm serious, Fane.